Big pharmaceuticals, are we being duped? Today we are faced with an explosion in the molecular sciences. Molecular biology especially has experienced huge advances in the last 10 years following the completion of the Human Genome Project. Today in major laboratories we are capable of precise genetic manipulation, using what are known as zinc finger endonucleases, to within 3 specific base pair sequences. As today the scientific community is aware that 70 to 80% of all disease is caused by some form of genetic mutation in specific genes, the process ongoing today is not in fact how we fix a mutated genome, but which mutations in specific genes cause specific medical conditions. Essentially we are past the age of genetic understanding and are now in the age of genetic documentation, where every gene's function and malfunction will be catalogued and stored as a complete knowledge of our working genome. With the merger of the ever-advancing computer systems with this experimental data we are exponentially growing towards the end of this age of documentation, and within approximately 5 to 8 years we will have passed this age and enter the age of genetic mastery, where our complete understanding of the human genome will allow us to eradicate 80 to 90% of disease through genetic manipulation and repair. This is a likely scenario within the next decade. But while this is a wonderful outcome of modern molecular biology, there is a significant threat to this reality: the capitalization and pharmaceuticalization of such knowledge. As big pharmaceuticals embrace this knowledge, there is a fear that the emphasis of this technology will shift from permanently curing illness through genetic maintenance, to suppressing symptoms of disease caused by mutant genes through drug-based alteration of their protein products. Essentially there would be less of a willingness from a business point of view to actually permanently fix a mutated genome, as this would not profit long-term income through sales of pharmaceuticals, as one treatment would be required to fix an ailment. There would therefore be more of a willingness to provide drugs which may suppress or alter the products of the mutated gene, which would provide the illusion of a cure. However, the drug would then need to be bought and taken regularly to maintain stable health by a diseased individual. In this way the drug company would likely ensure a continuous stream of income, much as they do today, and not provoke anger, as the individuals would be none the wiser as to the nature of the so-called cure to which they are continuously purchasing and ingesting. This would indeed turn out to be a dark future for mankind, or at least the West, if we embrace such an attitude. We would be financially enslaved to the drug companies, all for the sake of symptom relief and big business profit, when a cure for the same ailment would be possible for those in positions of privilege or industrial access. We would not just be creating a class of individuals with more money, we would create a class with perfect health without the need for drugs, while the rest of us would suffer under the hammer of literal genetic enslavement to the pill. Of course no one cares about such things while we're healthy, which is something that needs to change. This is what these big companies use to exploit our ignorance and our tax money, while the sick amongst us suffer the agony of this chemical and financial enslavement. The cruelest thing one can do to another is give them health from a terrible disease, only to take it away again just because they can't afford a drug. Such an event would, in my opinion, represent the absolute bottom of the moral sinkhole to which we are stuck in today. As mentioned earlier, genetics itself is not a bad thing. It has the potential to create a world free from disease, or a capitalized moral sinkhole to which I referred to earlier. In the end, it's how we use it that defines what the future will be, not the knowledge itself. On the basis of this real fear, I advocate that we make those around us aware of this potential threat to our freedoms. I also suggest that fellow molecular biologists recognize this threat and speak out about the desire to avert such a possibility by only advocating permanent cures for disease through permanent genetic alteration of disease genomes, in a single drug-based method. Do all you can to prevent pharmaceuticals from approaching the mindset mentioned earlier. Do not accept funding from pharmaceuticals if the research aim is for purposes other than permanent medications which cure genetic mutation. Do not work for pharmaceuticals if that is your stated research aim. I repeat. 1. Avert such a possibility by only advocating permanent cures for disease through permanent genetic alteration of disease genomes, in a single drug-based method. 2. Do all you can to prevent pharmaceuticals from approaching the mindset mentioned earlier, the willingness by pharmaceuticals to provide drugs which may suppress or alter the products of the mutated gene but which would only provide the illusion of a cure, after which the drug would then need to be bought and taken regularly to maintain stable health by a diseased individual. 3. Do not accept funding from pharmaceuticals if the research aim is for purposes other than permanent medications which cure genetic mutation. 4. Do not work for pharmaceuticals if that is your stated research aim.